Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines this evening. As the nation bid goodbye to the 2 soldiers killed on the LOC, Director General of Military Operations speaks to his Pakistani counterpart, vows to take appropriate action against the barbaric act. Election Commission cancels the Anantnag bypolls indefinitely in view of the current tense situation in the valley. Governor meets Home Minister while Arun Jaitley briefs PM over the beheadings issue. India expected to hit 7.1% growth this year before edging up to 7.5% in 2018, says a UN report. Warns India of heightened risk related to bad loans in public sector banks. And days after shadow boxing in the Korean peninsula, US President Donald Trump now says he would be honored to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un under the right circumstances. Well, let's begin with news from where the Indian Army has vowed an appropriate response to the despicable act of beheading and mutilation of 2 Indian soldiers by Pakistan on Monday. The incident took place along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. Meanwhile, in a telephonic conversation, India's Director General of Military Operations conveyed his serious concerns on the issue to his Pakistani counterpart, saying that the act was beyond any norm of civility.
The Border Security Force on Tuesday said that the Pakistani army provided cover with firing to their border action team personnel to enable them to attack and kill Indian Jawans in the Krishna Ghati sector of Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. In another development, the Indian Director General of Military Operations called his Pakistani counterpart on the hotline and told that the act of beheading was dastardly and inhuman. The DGMO also raised the issue of fire support provided by the Pakistani posts. However, Pakistan's army has denied any involvement in the attack or mutilation of the Indian soldiers.
उनके 2 FDL ऑपोजिट साइड से पाकिस्तान की तरफ से और 2 एम्बुश जो उन्होंने लगा रखे थे, चारों ने साइमल्टेनियस फायर शुरू किया और जो बाकी हमारे जवान थे वो उसमें इंगेज थे और इसी फायरिंग के बीच में जो बैट एक्शन होता है, बैट एक्शन का मतलब है कि जो टिपिकली इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ द रेगुलर आर्मी एंड मुजाहिदीन्स और दे ट्रेन मिलिटेंट्स, तो उन दोनों ने इस फायर पावर का जो उनकी तरफ से आ रहे थे 2 FDL और 2 एम्बुश के, उसका फ़ायदा उठाते हुए उन्होंने 2 जवानों को म्यूटिलेट किया, उनकी बॉडी को.
Meanwhile, the army and the BSF bid farewell to both martyred soldiers. Naib Subedar Paramjeet Singh and Head Constable Prem Singh in a wreath-laying ceremony organized in Poonch. The mortal remains of both soldiers were flown to their native villages.
That we are here to mourn and to pay tribute to the martyr, and we are with the family, the whole force, BSF, Indian Army, the whole country is united at this moment.
जिस तरह की नापाक हरकत पाकिस्तान ने की है, वो युद्ध में भी नहीं की जाती है. हम इसकी पूरी भर्त्सना करते हैं. देश के शहीदों की शहादत व्यर्थ नहीं जाने दी जाएगी.
It has affected the morale of the Indian people, morale of the Indian army, and it has had also continuous attack in the military installations. It put a question mark about the security structure in the border.
The mutilation of our soldiers at the border is something which is reprehensible and we strongly condemn. The issue here is, how does the government of India intend to deal with this very real problem which is continuing?
On Monday, under the cover of heavy rocket and mortar fire, Pakistan's border action team had sneaked across the line of control into the Poonch sector in Jammu and Kashmir and beheaded 2 Indian soldiers. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now to Kashmir, where a day after the beheadings of the 2 soldiers on the LOC by the Pakistani army, tension has escalated in the valley. The Election Commission cancelled the by-election to the Anantnag parliamentary constituency indefinitely, while several meetings took place in the national capital to discuss the prevailing law and order situation in Kashmir. India's Director General of Military Operations also spoke to his Pakistan counterpart and expressed grave concern about the killing and beheading of the 2 soldiers. Here's a roundup of all the developments.
The Election Commission cancelled the Anantnag Lok Sabha by-poll scheduled for the 25th of May, citing poor law and order situation and lack of adequate security forces. This after the state government informed the Election Commission that the situation in South Kashmir and rest of the valley is not conducive to hold the election. In a 10-page order issued on Monday night, the Election Commission stated that the by-election to fill the vacancy will be held by the Commission in due course when the law and order situation becomes conducive to the holding of free, fair and peaceful election. The Anantnag Lok Sabha seat fell vacant after Mehbooba Mufti took over as the Chief Minister in July last year following the death of her father, Mufti Muhammad Saeed.
तसद्दुक मुफ्ती साहब उन्होंने एक अच्छा फैसला लिया, एक पिटीशन किया उन्होंने इलेक्शन कमीशन से, और उसके बाद इलेक्शन कमीशन एसेस करता रहा होम मिनिस्ट्री और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से सिक्योरिटी सिचुएशन भी और इसके सियासी मुज़म्मिरात पर भी बड़ी लंबी बहस हुई आज तक, और आज ये फैसला हुआ कि हालात मौजू नहीं है इंतखाबात के लिए, लोगों के हक में है ये फैसला.
The by-poll, earlier scheduled for April, was deferred after 8 people were killed in poll-related violence. The Srinagar parliamentary seat, which was won by National Conference Chief Farooq Abdullah, witnessed a record low voter turnout of over 7%. Reacting to the EC's decision, former Chief Minister of the state, Omar Abdullah, tweeted, "It's depressing to see how far we have regressed in Kashmir from the highs of the assembly polls of 2014 to the cancelled election of 2017. Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir Governor N.N. Vora met Home Minister Rajnath Singh in the capital and reviewed the ground situation of the valley. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley too met with the Prime Minister to discuss the government's latest strategy after the beheadings of the 2 Indian soldiers by Pakistani army on Monday. The situation in Kashmir has remained volatile since July last year after the killing of Hizbul terrorist Burhan Wani in a police encounter. More than 90 people have lost their lives in protests since then. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today held a review meeting with the Revenue Department to take stock of the anti-black money drive in regard to the tax collected post the note ban. Officials discussed the disclosures made in the tax amnesty scheme announced after the scrapping of old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes in November last year. According to news agency ANI, Prime Minister Modi told Finance Ministry officials to speed up action against Benami property holders. He also said that e-assessment should be implemented soon to minimize human interference and all assessments should be computerized. The Prime Minister also said that more people should come under the tax net so that tax base can be increased. The Prime Minister also reportedly discussed the goods and services tax, which is expected to be rolled out from July 1st. While the GST Council has decided on the 4-tier tax structure, the crucial fitment of goods and services in the tax brackets is yet to be decided. Well, with the UP Special Task Force cracking down on errant petrol pumps across the state, their owners went on a strike late on Monday to protest against the action. The strike was called off earlier today after Lucknow District Administration officials assured the petrol pump owners in a meeting that those running their businesses honestly should not be afraid of any action. Several petrol pumps in UP had been caught using electronic chips and remote controls to dispense a lower quantity of petrol and diesel to consumers. A number of petrol pumps, including one owned by UP Petrol Pump Dealers Association President B.N. Shukla, had been sealed after they were caught cheating. A delegation of petrol pump owners later met Deputy Chief Minister Dinesh Sharma to explain their position. The sudden strike caused inconvenience to the people who were seen lining up outside company-owned outlets which were open. Earlier on the 27th of April, the STF had initiated the crackdown when it raided 7 petrol pumps. As per reports, an electronic chip was being installed at the petrol pumps, helping them get a profit worth lakhs every month.
पीएम साहब ने हम लोग को ये अश्योर किया है कि आने वाली जितनी भी चेकिंग होंगी वो नियम कानून के अनुसार होंगी और नियम और किसी भी तरह का फिजिकल वायलेंस स्टाफ के साथ नहीं किया जाए। उन्होंने ये चीज़ एश्योर करी है कि जिस नॉजिल में कमी पाई गई है सिर्फ उसी नॉजिल को सील किया जाएगा, बाकी नॉजिल से बिक्री चालू करने के उन्होंने अपने एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को आदेश दे दिए।
Meanwhile, in some good news for the economy, a UN report claims that India is expected to clock 7.1% growth in the year 2017 before edging up to 7.5% in 2018. A report titled The Economic and Social Survey of Asia and Pacific 2017 also projects inflation between 5.3% to 5.5% in 2017 and 2018, which is above the official target of 4.5 to 5%. Noting the impact of demonetization, the report also said that the demonetization exercise in November last year weighed down the country's economic conditions in late 2016 and early 2017. However, the report mentions that a key risk in the growth trajectory was heightened financial sector risks related to the concentration of bad loans in public sector banks. Well, here's a look at what else is making news across the country and nationwide. The Enforcement Directorate has registered a money laundering case against AIADMK Amma leader TTV Dhinakaran and others in connection with the alleged bribery of Election Commission officials. This comes after it took cognizance of a Delhi police FIR in the matter. Dhinakaran was arrested on April 25th after 4 days of questioning by the Delhi police. A team of officials from the ED and CBI have reached London to hold talks with British prosecutors to seek extradition of Vijay Mallya. Mallya was arrested on April 18th by the Scotland Yard upon India's request to extradite him from Britain. He was released on bail a few hours later. Mallya owes over 9,000 crore rupees to a consortium of 17 Indian banks. The Delhi High Court on Tuesday directed the CBSE to ensure that schools affiliated to it must not indulge in commercial activities. The court directed the educational institutes to refrain from selling books and uniforms in their premises. CBSE has already issued a circular in this regard. The Uttar Pradesh cabinet has approved the implementation of GST in the state. The bill will be tabled in the assembly session commencing May 15th. If the assembly ratifies the bill, UP will become the 5th state after Jharkhand, Telangana, Bihar and Rajasthan. The Narendra Modi government is keen on rolling out GST from July 1st. The Supreme Court has directed the University Grants Commission to release funds to Punjab University to clear its salary bills and for smooth conduct of exams. The move comes after the Punjab University told the Apex Court that it has been running short of funds since last few months to pay monthly salaries. Earlier, Punjab and Haryana High Court had also ordered the UGC to release funds. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
It was an EVM leher, not Modi leher.
I think insult to the people of the country.
Why does the secular lobby say that the nationalism which is projected by BJP is a pseudo-nationalism?
We, after so many years, don't need any certificate from any lobby.
BJP is becoming bigger than RSS, or RSS is overshadowing BJP?
I don't think so that BJP can ever become bigger than RSS.
Watch To The Point with Union Minister Dr. Harshvardhan only on Rajya Sabha television.
Homai Vyarawala, better known by her pseudonym Dalda 13, was India's first woman photojournalist. Vyarawala entered the field of photojournalism in the late 1930s. For nearly 30 years till she retired in the early 1970s, at the peak of her career, she made a massive impact. Vyarawala clicked some iconic pictures of political and national leaders. Gandhiji, Nehru, Jinnah, Indira Gandhi have been subjects of her vast photographic collection. Prime Minister Nehru, she says, was her favourite. In 2011, Homayi Vyarawala was conferred the Padma Vibhushan, the country's second highest civilian award. Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, with North Korea threatening of a nuclear war, US President Donald Trump has expressed desire to meet the Korean leader Kim Jong-un under the right circumstances. White House was quick to clarify, though, that major changes were required in North Korea's behavior before a potential sit-down between both leaders. Meanwhile, tensions continue to simmer in the Korean peninsula as US bombers conducted flying drills with South Korea and Japan.
In the backdrop of rising tensions in the Korean peninsula, US President Donald Trump has said that he was willing to meet the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, but under the right circumstances. The statement assumes significance as North Korea warns of a looming nuclear war. The White House said the US would first need to see changes in North Korean behavior before a potential sit-down.
That the State Department determines in contact with the President that have to be met. As I mentioned, we are so early into this process that I don't see this happening anytime soon. But I think that, as the President, like I said, under the right circumstances, those circumstances aren't present today, and there would have to be significant change for that to even be a possibility.
China has welcomed Trump's desire for a meeting with the North Korean leader, saying that restoring interaction and dialogue was an effective way of cooling down the situation.
我们认为美朝作为半岛核问题的直接的当事方，应该尽早的拿出实际行动来展现诚意，为尽早的恢复对话。
North Korea, however, remained reluctant and accused the US of pushing the Korean peninsula to the brink of nuclear war. Tensions further rose on Monday after US bombers flew training drills with the South Korean and Japanese air forces in another apparent show of strength.
B-1B 편대를 은밀히 조선동해 상공까지 진입시켜 이미 조선동해에 전개된 핵 항공모함과 핵 잠수함을 비롯한 전략적 타격 수단들과의 협동작전 절차와 방.
The US has been carrying out military exercises in the region along with South Korea in response to the North's repeated missile tests. The controversial anti-missile system THAAD deployed in South Korea has also become operational. The system's deployment is to defend against North Korean missile threat. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a roundup of all the other international news and global buzz. Well, Canada's opposition on Monday called for Indian origin Defence Minister Harjit Sajjan to resign or be sacked for overstating his military record in Afghanistan during a speech in India. Sajjan erroneously claimed that last month to have been the architect of Canada's largest military operation since the 1950s, known as Operation Medusa. Leader of the opposition, Rona Ambrose, said that the Minister of Defence has misled Canadians, and this is a big one. Jihadist fighters killed at least 10 soldiers in the western Iraqi province of Anbar on Tuesday in their latest deadly attack on security forces in the area. Officials said that 10 soldiers were killed and 6 wounded in the attack by the Islamic State. At least 26 Iraqi personnel, including members of the border guard, the army and the police, have been killed in the area since April 23rd. The Communist Party of China has accused its own party officials of donating funds to the Dalai Lama and joining underground pro-independence organizations. The unnamed officials were accused of donating funds to the Tibetan spiritual leader, joining underground pro-independence organizations and leaking secrets to overseas groups. Communist Party magazine said that their activity severely undermines the party's fight against separatism. The Sri Lankan Navy intercepted a boat carrying 30 Rohingya refugees who had been living in India. The island nation's Navy and Coast Guard stopped the boat and its human cargo, which included 16 children, off Sri Lanka's northern shores. Officials said that the 30 Rohingyas who had been living in India for 5 years and the 2 suspected traffickers appeared before the magistrate on Monday and were remanded to custody until May 2nd. Well, let's shift focus now and bring you up to speed with some sports news in Sports Beat. India lost their match in the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup to Australia with a scoreline of 2-1. The men in blue took the initial lead in the 25th minute through a field goal from Harmanpreet Singh, but defending champions Australia scored in 3 field goals to maintain their position at the top of the league standings. India are on 4 points from 3 games with 2 games to go. Mark Selby defended his World Snooker Championship title with a stunning comeback to beat John Higgins. Selby was trailing 10-4 but claimed 9 out of the 10 frames to lead 13-11 before eventually winning 18-15 and securing his 3rd crown in 4 years. The world number 1 is only the 4th player to claim back-to-back titles in the modern era. Defending champions Real Madrid will face rivals Atletico Madrid in the first leg of the semi-final of the Champions League. 11-time champions Real Madrid will have the home advantage playing at the Santiago Bernabeu. Real had defeated Atletico 5-3 on penalties in the 2016 final in Milan and 4-1 in extra time in 2014. Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.